So today is the day that I answer your questions about marketing, copywriting, business building, and so on, right? So today's question is from Billy. I asked, what's your biggest challenge? He says, I just want to learn how to write copy or in general as clearly and convincingly as possible. I'm not engaged in any specific business other than writing. I'm only here for enhancing my writing ability. Awesome. I can absolutely help with that. And specifically, I want to give you a fairly universal approach, a simple formula, a framework for writing copy that sells and that motivates people to take action. So that's the topic of today's episode.
These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough.
So let's start back in 2010. I had the opportunity to interview Bill Bonner, and Bill was the founder of the company that's now known as Agora, and gigantic direct response marketing enterprise or network of companies. And I asked him about copywriting, and I asked him about, what have you what are the most important lessons that you've learned about copywriting? And he basically said that he learned 5,000 lessons or whatever, and in helping his copywriters grow and succeed, he taught all these different lessons about copywriting. But the more that he grew as a writer, as a copywriter, the more he realized there was one lesson that was important. And that lesson is find the most interesting story and find a way to tell it as simply and compellingly as possible. So he gets into the mind of his prospect, of his audience, and he says, what story jumps out at me? What story is interesting? What story captures my attention and interest and pulls me in? And then putting on that writer hat, he says, okay, how can I tell that in the most compelling, most interesting way? And frankly, that's the fundamental framework and formula, is find the interesting story and tell it. And even if you're not a professional copywriter, there's actually a book, Method Marketing by Denny Hatch, which is one of my favorite lesser known books about marketing, where he actually tells stories. Like, he tells Bill's story in there, but then he tells a whole bunch of different stories of all these huge marketing successes. And it goes back and forth. Like, here's a professional marketer, copywriter, somebody with a lot of experience who did this and succeeded. And here's somebody with zero experience at all who did this and succeeded. And the entire book is, it's named after method acting, where the actor gets into the character and then fully inhabits that role of the character to perform. And Denny's contention in this book is that anybody that can fully get into the hearts and minds of their audience and speak from that place can write effective marketing. And he shows example after example of people who basically, they tell a compelling story and they ask for action at the end. They tell a compelling story and they ask for action at the end. Now, if you want to get more detailed, you look at the audience, you look at the market, you look at who am I speaking to? And number one, you start there. You say, who am I speaking to? And then number two, you say, what's the offer that I have for them? What action am I going to want them to take? So, whatever that action is, whether it's a click or a conversion or filling out some form that makes them a lead, or an application where they schedule a call with your sales team, or actually clicking through and buying a product, whatever. What's the offer, the action that you want them to take? What's the action you want them to take, and what's the offer that you're going to make to get them to take that action? And then backing out from there, what story is going to make them interested in taking that action? What story is going to make them interested in pursuing your offer? So it justifies the action that they're going to take. And then importantly, how am I going to start this all by hooking their attention? How am I going to start this all by hooking their attention? Now, if you've studied Russell Brunson, hook, story, offer, the specific language, his choice of those three elements in the framework, yeah. But obviously this stuff goes back way before Russell taught it. But if you're going to flip this around, the hook, the story, and the offer spoken to the audience. That's how you do something. You start with something that's going to capture their attention, their interest, get them excited to read. And in storytelling, this is often in media res. This is in the middle of things. You start in the middle of things. You start with an action movie. It starts with a hail of bullets, and that's actually something that Eugene Schwartz taught as a great copywriting principle. This hail of excitement, of explosions and bullets and whatever, to get people excited. And then you get into the story, and then you make an offer. You ask them to take action in exchange for some kind of outcome, some kind of deliverable. And you speak that all to the audience. Now, from here, if you want to be a better writer, a better copywriter, you edit this for simple language, for clarity. You simplify your language and make it as readable as possible. And you do that through editing. There's great copywriters edit. And then practice a lot. Practice to get better at this. Just practice. And measure the results. So you can try one thing. Does that work better than this other thing that you try? You try, measure the results, you see what works better, you try again, see what works better, and you approach it from the perspective of not just a writer, but a scientist. Of if I put this in front of this audience, do they respond? And what can I learn from that? Whether they do or don't respond, what do I learn? And if you want to go deeper into, more advanced frameworks and principles behind what works in marketing and copywriting, I do offer my BTMS Insiders training library. I'll include a link in the description to check that out. My name is Roy Furr. This is the Breakthrough Marketing. This is your daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, Mailbox Monday edition. I'd love it if you'd leave a comment with this episode. Let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 how valuable you found it and why. What are your action items? What are your takeaways? What are you going to do as a result of this? How might you practice this yourself? Also, tap that like button before you go so you get more content like this delivered to you, and so the magical algorithms of the internet know to share it with more people like you who will find it valuable. You can certainly share it with folks directly, and subscribe before you go. Subscribe here. You can also go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com, get my daily emails Monday through Friday, including episode notifications and more. Plus, if you really want to go deep, again, you can subscribe to BTMS Insiders, my training library that's like Netflix, but for copywriting and marketing training. I always aim for 10 out of 10 value. I hope I delivered it here, and I will catch you again in the next episode. See you soon.
Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.